the Göktürk Empire's lost alphabet shorts. In 732 AD, a Turkic king carved a warning into solid stone, calling his own people foolish for trusting China. You were never taught that this warning exists. There's a reason, and the reason isn't about the words. It's about the alphabet they were written in, one your textbooks pretend never happened. Here's the setup. Between 552 and 744 AD, a nomadic empire called the Göktürks ruled the biggest stretch of Central Asia anyone had controlled up to that point. Mongolia, Siberia, parts of modern Kazakhstan, millions of square miles run from horseback, and somewhere in that empire someone invented a writing system from scratch, not borrowed, not copied. A true alphabet, carved onto river stone in the Orkhon Valley, angular, sharp, built for chisels, not brushes. Historians call it Old Turkic script. Most people have never heard the name. Now here's the strange documented fact. When Danish linguist Wilhelm Thomsen finally cracked this alphabet in 1893, he wasn't reading poetry. He was reading a political manifesto. The largest monument built for a ruler named Bilge Kaghan doesn't praise heaven or list conquests first. It opens with a warning. It says the Chinese court is sweet-tongued and soft-silked on purpose, a trap designed to pull Turkic nobles close, then swallow their identity whole. It names names. It accuses. A nomadic empire using its own invented letters on its own stone, calling out the most powerful civilization on Earth by writing it down permanently, where it couldn't be denied. And it gets stranger. This alphabet looks almost exactly like Germanic runes, the letters carved by Vikings thousands of miles away. Same angular shapes, same chisel-friendly strokes. No connection has ever been proven between them. None. Two civilizations, separated by an entire continent, independently landed on nearly identical letter forms. Linguists still call Old Turkic script an orphan, a writing system with no confirmed parent and no confirmed family. It appeared. It was used for 2 centuries. Then it vanished almost completely, and for over 1,000 years, nobody outside a handful of monuments in the Mongolian steppe knew it had ever existed. But here's what doesn't add up. If a fully independent Turkic empire was literate, organized, and confident enough to publicly accuse China of cultural warfare, why does almost every Western history course on this era teach the steppe peoples as voiceless, faceless horsemen, barbarians at the gate? A threat described only through Chinese records, Chinese emperors, Chinese chronicles, never through their own words, because for 1,000 years historians didn't have their own words. And when they finally did in 1893, it barely made it into any curriculum at all. So why was it buried? Follow the money of information. For centuries, the only surviving written accounts of the Göktürk era came from Tang Dynasty China, the empire the monument was accusing. Court historians don't flatter their rivals. In those records, the Turkic cognates show up exactly how you'd expect an accused party to be written by the accuser: unstable, primitive, dependent on Chinese goodwill. That version became the default because it was the only version anyone could read for over a millennium. Then Thomsen deciphers the stones, and suddenly there's a second account, a Turkic account, one that flips the entire narrative. The barbarians weren't voiceless. They were watching China closely enough to warn their own people, in writing, in their own alphabet, not to fall for it. That's not a footnote. That's a rival historical record surviving in stone, undermining the only story that had ever been told. And once European academia had already built centuries of scholarship on the Chinese framing, an inconvenient, self-authored Turkic counter-narrative didn't get rewritten in. It got treated as a curiosity, a footnote about runes in Mongolia, not what it actually was, the literate, defiant voice of an empire that refused to be someone else's footnote. And that's not even the strangest part. Within a few generations of these monuments being carved, the Turkic peoples abandoned this alphabet entirely, switching to a script borrowed from Sogdian traders, then later to Arabic script after conversion to Islam. The one truly original Turkic writing system, the one built to accuse an empire to its face, disappeared from use almost as fast as it arrived. No successor empire kept it. No later dynasty preserved it. It had to be dug out of frozen stone in Siberia, one syllable at a time by a foreigner, 1,000 years after the last hand that carved it had died. So ask yourself this. If one accusation, carved in stone by a forgotten alphabet, was enough to sit unread and unknown for over 1,000 years, how many other empires wrote down their side of the story in scripts nobody has decoded yet?